Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of Time Lord technology they're trying to pass off on us, but all this, that's not fitting under this. Hey, hey, friends revolutionaries! Here to take a look at the in the first in the second yeah first in the second half of the first series of the Masters of the Universe Revelations figures, the Netflix original series, Masters of the Universe Revelations, Evil-Lyn. Evil-Lyn. No surprise for anybody who's watched the channel before, Evil-Lyn is without a doubt one of my favorite characters from the Master Universe stories. Really love Evil-Lyn, and got a lot to say about her. We'll wait till we get out of her pack to make a final decision, but got some things to say. I still haven't got my headset working on my computer, or let me say I have not got a headset. I've tried multiples, but I'm still not getting a headset working on my computer. So a bit of a housekeeping for the 4 of you who watch these videos, and I really appreciate the 4 of you who watch. Thank you so much. No, really, I appreciate everybody who's watching. Please keep doing it. I hope you're enjoying the videos. But bit of housekeeping for anybody who keeps their eyes open every Sunday for these. There may not be a video next week. I need to take my computer in to have some work done on it. Hopefully once that's done, I'll be able to get the headset working and I can actually do some reviews of the individual episodes and the series as a whole. So that is something that I want to do, and I want to make it kind of a midweek video. So do 2 videos a week, maybe on Wednesdays, and then and then figures on Sundays still. We'll see. But a bit of a housekeeping news. Yeah, there may not be a video next week. Fingers crossed that it all gets done before then, but just in case, just so you know. Right now, for now, we do have Evil-Lyn to take a look at. And yeah, I mean, it's something where, again, there's stuff to say. Taking a look at the box where we have the side portrait of Evil-Lyn. And this is her, I guess, the version of Evil-Lyn, her appearance through the bulk of the new series with her costume design. Not as impressed with the artwork on this. I think it's because I don't really care for her costume design here. I mean, it's great artwork. It's really well done. I like the magic crackling from her fingers, her wand, her crystal ball. But I don't know. Other than her helmet, her iconic helmet, the rest of the look just doesn't really seem kind of that evil warrior goddess. It doesn't really have that look to it. It's a bit of a miss on the character design. We'll have to get out of the pack and see how the figure comes out. But as far as just the look and the style on it, not a big fan. Not a big fan on her look at all. Which is kind of a shame. Because, well, we'll wait till we get out of the pack. We'll talk about it once we get her out of the pack. The packaging being the same as all the other Revelations figures. It's in a blue box with the Masterverse up at the top, which I still don't know what this means. If somebody either at Netflix or Mattel knows what this means, please pass it along. Send me a link. You know, somebody explain that to me, because it still bothers me that the Masterverse. What is the Masterverse? You know, I was hoping that it would mean we would see a new She-Ra series and maybe that pre-Eternian show. That doesn't seem to be what's happening. So what is the Masterverse? What is this? Is this supposed to be some cinematic universe that crosses over? It could work. It could work, but it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen. So what is it? I don't know. If anybody knows, leave me a comment, please. But yeah, I mean, it's not very iconic Masters of the Universe at all. I'm going to say it. Doesn't have the dimple. Doesn't have the blister. Just has the large window. And then the word Revelations just standing out there because, yeah, we didn't get enough of that on video game versions. There are the other 4 characters that are in the series, or the 4 characters. He-Man, which we've done. Skeletor. We're taking a look at Evil-Lyn, Mossman. So Evil-Lyn and Mossman, well, I guess it's Skelegod, He-Man, and Skeletor. We're looking at those 3. The 3 that are left, we're starting with Evil-Lyn. We'll get a look at Mossman, and we'll look at one other one that I finally got. finally got. But yeah, so far, I've been pretty happy with the series. I've been pretty happy. With just a little bit of change to the He-Man armor, and, you know, acknowledging that Skeletor is going to be different, I was pretty happy. I've been pretty happy. Evil-Lyn is the first major change to an established character, so, you know, we're gonna have to see how she turned out. On the packaging, her write-up: Evil-Lyn, evil warrior goddess, the dark sorceress ever present by Skeletor's side, weaves sinister spells to assist his quest to conquer Castle Grayskull. A dangerous foe with malicious intent, Evil-Lyn is not above allying herself with the heroic warriors for her own ambitions and the untapped universal power held within Eternia. Whether standing on the side of evil or the side of good, Evil-Lyn is to be feared but never trusted. You know, I always thought that Evil-Lyn really was the kind of character who, if anything ever happened to Skeletor, she would be the one to step up and really kind of take over, you know, being the big bad. Or sort of like Destro in G.I. Joe, where he spun off onto his own army and became kind of a third faction. I always thought Evil-Lyn would be great for that. Evil-Lyn would be perfect to kind of split off with her own mystical army. And it seemed as though that might be something they were going to do in the series. They didn't. As a matter of fact, they make a point of talking about how, well, again, don't want to get in the weeds, but yeah, I always thought that Evil-Lyn could really be a strong leader character. Didn't really do that here, but who knows? Who knows? She may yet still come out as something pretty awesome. That's all I'm gonna really say about the packaging. I don't want to get in the weeds. I want to really kind of talk about the series as it is in its own video. I went on with Skeletor. Let's go ahead and pop Evil-Lyn out of the pack, take a look, and have some fun. Be right back. All right, we've got Evil-Lyn out of her pack, and I have to say, this is probably my least favorite version of the character so far. It is disappointing. It is disappointing to say the least. Up until now, the figures have been, well, He-Man and Skeletor, obviously Skelegod is a new character, but He-Man and Skeletor have really kept to a modernized version of the original character design. Not so with Evil-Lyn. And it's shocking because in the first episode, I don't think this is a spoiler, in the first episode, she really does have that modernized version of the vintage style. Let me bring these in real quick, just as a reminder, not that I think anyone needs it. Here is a retro version of the original Evil-Lyn. Obviously meant to mimic more of the ash color from the 2000X version. You know, I understand you don't really want to do the lemon colored Evil-Lyn. I understand that. So, you know, these are probably the closest in comparisons to the more traditional flesh tone that we're getting. But yeah, you can see what I mean as far as the style and the armor goes. And how this Evil-Lyn is a complete departure from that look. which is not the case when we first see her. When she's first introduced, she is wearing a modernized version of this costume. It still has kind of the furry ruff around her collar, the loincloth belt thing. It comes down further. It looks more armor-like than this, but it still is a very modernized version of the original look. Now, this is the costume they gave her through the other 4 episodes. So out of the 5 episodes, 4 out of the 5, this is the costume she's wearing, which is a bad choice. It's a bad character design. It's boring. It is boring, and it makes the bads really. It's a good comparison to the show. I think I just hit on it. It's boring like the show, so it makes the bad. Well, it makes the good stand out. Good things do stand out, but it makes the bad really stand out. And that, excuse me, and that's a shame. I might be losing my voice, guys. I'm sorry, but that's a shame because it didn't have to be this way. They could have used the classic Evil-Lyn, modernized her, and then later down the road, come out with this version right here. You know, come out strong, not boring. Of the things I do like the head. I like the head sculpt. The sculpt on the head looks good. The paint job looks good. I like how, kind of keeping with the simplified classic version, or how should we say vintage version, you know, her crown and the skull are all painted in one color. You know, they did show some self-restraint and not really get into, you know, kind of painting in the eye sockets, dotting the gems. You know, they showed some restraint there. I liked that. I do like that. And I like the color. That dark blue, the light blue with it. I think that the colors would have worked really well if they had just kept her in that classic costume. You know, giving her the armbands, some type of design on her gloves. I mean, the ruff that's here is just, it's just a flat blue. There is no highlights. There's no wash. It's just a boring ruff around there. You know, there's the seam where her top, you know, down the middle, you know, comes out to edge along her skirt. Looks like it's got kind of a fabric texture to it. But that's it. That's it. She's got the black belt with a sloppily painted silver on there. Again, really making the bad stand out even worse. There's a piece of plastic here to keep her wand, which is a whole other mess. This is, I appreciate the thought, but this was not done well. We'll look at it here in a minute. Even in her boots. They've given her these pirate boot design, which, you know, it's not the kind of barbarian fantasy, you know, furry strap boots that is kind of iconic to the, not only the character, but just the series in general, just for the characters. You know, they gave her these pirate boots, which I'm not a fan of. I do not like the design here. This is not a good looking Evil-Lyn. Not in design, certainly not in figure execution, that's for sure. She does have all the articulation of the other figures in the series. So her head is on a ball joint. The arms come up and out. Twist at the bicep. Double joint at the elbow. Twist at the hand and a hinge at the wrist. She does have a bit of a swivel with her ball joint torso. Twist at the waist. The skirt piece has the 3 pieces. There's the back end, it's all one. And then these two front pieces are kind of split along the side, so her leg come out, out again, twist at the thigh, double joint at the knee, twist the boot, hinge at the foot with the pivot. So she's got all the articulation. Not impressed with that. That doesn't impress me, that she's got all the correct articulation. I'm just painfully disappointed in not only the design that they decided to go with, considering this was not the only one they could have chosen from the show, but just the execution of the design. It's not good. Not good. Not good. One thing that I noticed in Pack and really kind of stood out to me even more is the fact that she's actually got a very short neck. She seems to have a very short neck, which is disappointing because so far, Evil-Lyn is the only character so far who has a spare head. Now that's not exactly new. The Master Universe Classic Evil-Lyn did come with a spare head as well. But unlike the Classics version, which was very heavily inspired by the original series, here, instead of giving Evil-Lyn that short hair to fit underneath her helmet, they gave her this very long hair. Which is not exactly a bad idea, but I don't know how she's supposed to fit all this hair under her helmet. I mean, if she can keep all this hair under her helmet, if she can enchant her helmet to hide all this hair, how does she and Skeletor ever lose a fight? If she can take that much hair and enchant her helmet to hide it, there's all kinds of things they could have done with that kind of magic. But so far, the head, the long-haired head, hasn't exactly pegged in very well. It doesn't feel like it really goes in all the way. I don't get a satisfying feeling that it's popped in place. I think that's in. It's not going to really move much when it's on, if at all. So I don't think it's too concerning. And I don't know, it just seems as though that maybe it's not the neck that bothers me here. Maybe it's the fact that her shoulders, they don't come out quite far enough. I don't know. It might grow on me. It might grow on me, but such as it is, there's just something about how this head how either one of the heads sits on the body, and I want to say it's the neck, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to take some getting used to. Very stark white hair. Again, no wash. I don't expect any highlights because it's already white. But some type of wash, something to break it up so it's not just so flat. I don't know. If we go ahead and... Yeah, I didn't feel like that was on very well at all. As opposed to this head, which... You hear that? That pops right in. You can really tell when that's in place. Another one of her accessories is the bag she carries through most of the series. Like the rest of the figure, it's just this flat, brownish leather. You know, there's a little color splashed in there. And yes, it's an accessory that she has in the show, but it doesn't really do much for her, and I don't think a fan is going to notice if it was missing. I don't think anybody would be asking, where's her bag? Where's the bag she carries? Well, it's a great figure, but where's the bag? You know, it just seems to be it seems to be an accessory. It's there to be there. It's not really doing anything for the overall figure. And that's sad. That's disappointing. Like the other figures that are in the series, she does come with 2 extra sets of hands. The one she comes with is a half-closed hand for holding her her staff and her wand. She also has a open hand, kind of a magic casting hand. But she also comes with a set of fists, which I don't really know why Evil-Lyn would have 2 fists. I don't think that's... I don't that's 2 accessories that don't make a whole lot of sense. And then she comes with the corresponding half-open hand and fully open magic casting hand, vice versa. So let's pop this one out. Now I will say I do like the pegs on the hands. So far, Evil-Lyn's hands are the ones that feel like they're pegged in the best, that pop in and out the best. But you have her kind of a magic casting sort of thing there. And I'll just pop this one back in because I don't want to be swapping hands out. But you can kind of see there would be her 2 half-open hands. So extra hands for reasons, I don't know. I don't think Evil-Lyn needed them. I think rather than wasting time on creating these extra hand accessories and the bag, maybe going back and reevaluating your design on the character, or at least doing some work to make the figure more interesting. Just an idea, just a suggestion, guys. She does come with the last 2 accessories. One is her staff, which is the one that she has in the beginning of the series. So just like the other 2 Evil-Lyns, the earlier versions of her, she actually has a staff with the crystal ball. And this was from the first episode. But after the events of that episode, her staff becomes a wand. I won't spoil why, but she loses her staff and gets the wand. Which is interesting because it always seemed to be kind of a bit of a debate as to whether or not Evil-Lyn's weapon is actually a wand or a staff. So in this series, it's one that then becomes the other. So you can have both. Too bad we couldn't have that with the character design on the figure. I did mention in the Skeletor review that the Havoc staff, the ram's head on the Havoc staff would come out, would pop off, and that it would actually be a nice accessory for Evil-Lyn because of what happens in the show. Let's go ahead and pop this hand out real quick. Let's put this one back in. If there had been some way for her to actually hold the ram's head, or at least a better way for her to actually hold it, well, it would have been recycling an accessory, I agree. But I think rather than doing a spare head, instead of doing a bag, instead of doing these extra sets of hands, giving Evil-Lyn her own version of the Havoc staff ram head, well, again, they'd have to be some way to get her to hold it properly. I think that would have been cool. That would have been a cool accessory for Evil-Lyn. It fits with the story. But we'll go ahead and we'll pop it back onto the Havoc staff where it belongs, because if we take this hand out, put that back in, there she is with the earlier versions of herself. Take a look at the could have been. Maybe at some point we'll get a first episode version of the figure. I would definitely appreciate it. Oh, and as I was going to mention, and I forgot, that that piece on her waist where her wand is supposed to go, it does actually go in there, but it does not stay very well. Again, it seems as though that they really threw a bunch of stuff at Evil-Lyn here, trying to make the figure do something with it, and it didn't work, and nothing seemed to work. Let's go ahead and leave that there, and we'll put the staff in our hand. Actually, you know what? Well, let's do... I've said it with the other figures, I'll say it again. If you're looking for a definitive version of the Master Universe, you want the classics. You want the Master Universe classic version of all of these figures. He-Man, Skeletor, and Evil-Lyn. This new version, not the best. Had some promise. The He-Man and Skeletor, not so bad. But the Evil-Lyn, yeah. Quite disappointing. But if we do take the earlier versions of her out, we can bring in Skeletor. Let's put his Havoc staff back in his hand. And there we have a deadly duo. Does the design fit together? I suppose. Not as well as I think the classic Evil-Lyn would have, or as well as it could have if it was the classic version of her. It doesn't look completely out of place. but certainly not the not as good as the more classic style Evil-Lyn would have looked. But yeah, that's taking a look at Evil-Lyn from the Master Universe Masterverse series. I can't really give that one a recommendation. I would say that at some point, if we do get the more classic version, like the first episode Evil-Lyn, that would be probably one to look into. If you happen to miss on this figure, I would say you're not really missing much. That it's not a great version. Rate, comment, subscribe, join the revolution. We'll see you soon with the next one. Bye bye.